every time the McRib comes back, and I guess it just came back, Bitcoin doubles. Or I don't know why. Maybe it just comes back every October. Maybe that's the reason. But it happened in 2021. It happened in 2023. And now McRib is also back. So I guess they skipped it in 2023, huh? Or 2022. There was no McRib in 2022 because everyone couldn't afford it. I don't know. Maybe this is the ultimate signal. Outside of McRibs, what do we have? We have the banana zone, which Raul Paul talks about a lot. Are we in a banana zone? I would argue, yeah, we should be in a banana zone because it starts basically in October every year, right? So that's where we are. Have we really started climbing upwards to the moon yet? Not so much, but I like to remind you guys, we're not that far off from all-time high, right? I know alts seem like they're still mountains away, but Bitcoin is only less than 10%. In fact, yesterday when we were at 69.5, we were only 5% away. So we did start climbing up, just not all the way up to the moon yet, but we will. Once we surpass all-time high, we're definitely in that banana zone. Alts still need some time to catch up, but Bitcoin has already started. But it's going to be glorious once we start moving. It always is, every single cycle. Everyone always complains it's not going to happen. We're not going to move up. It's impossible to break through the previous cycle. And then it happens and everyone is in euphoria. I mean, that every single cycle always happens. There's always some case, some bearish event, some FUD that makes people think that there's no way we can go higher. In 2020, think about what happened with the pandemic and despite all the fear out there, Bitcoin still went up. Think about that. And Bitcoin fell below $4,000 in 2020. Despite falling that much, it still went up to $69,000. So think about it. Think about how scary it was back then, and it still pumped up to $69,000 in 2021. So yeah, Bitcoin will just do its thing. These are all distractions. It will just continue to move higher and further. You just have to be patient. All right, so here's a double bottom showing that Bitcoin will go higher. There's a million patterns like this, okay? A million patterns, fractals, whatever. There are a lot. And if you're looking at October 21st, there's something special about today. If you look at 2020 and 2023, both years when the McRib came out, it is literally the start of the bull run. And if the McRib came out today, then it is the start of the bull run. I don't know if the McRib came out today. I'm just assuming because there's that post about the McRib. Maybe McRib came out today. I don't know. We'll see. And while that's happening, the Bitcoin network's getting stronger. So let's not just focus on the price, but as for the network itself and the miners that are powering the network, it continues to get stronger, which means that it becomes more unhackable, more secure, more decentralized, which also means that it's more impossible to shut down. And that most people do not care about. Most people don't care about, but I tried to explain this to someone new this weekend, and people just don't understand. But it's probably the most valuable thing about Bitcoin because it's the one network that all governments around the world have ceased to try to shut down, meaning they have given up. because they realize they can't shut it down. And that is so powerful if you think about it. There is nothing else out there that anyone could create today that a government can't shut down, right? And there's nothing else that exists that can transfer value that can't be shut down. Everything else has a head, like a person or a company or some kind of middleman that can be shut down and confiscated. Bitcoin is the only one out there that governments around the world now realize that it's just too big and pointless to try to stop. So that in itself is priceless because you can't replicate it. And if you just take a second to think about that, that's invaluable. That's priceless. That doesn't exist anywhere else. We're also entering the 44th week for Bitcoin, which is also very good, generally speaking, in October, right? We still have 2 solid weeks of October. It's not over yet. We got this week and next week. Well, next week kind of like half week, but still. We have 2 solid weeks. Well, 1.5 solid weeks to go. Okay. Still plenty of time to see more gains. But if we're following what happened last year, we got many, many, many weeks to go. Last year, we had 8 consecutive up weeks. Are we going to see the same thing? So far, we had the same thing. We had 3 so far. Are we going to see a 4th? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Now, something else that looks absolutely fantastic, and this is what caused Bitcoin to skyrocket 2,700% the last time this signal flashed, was elections, okay? Just look at it. 2 weeks prior to election in 2016, Bitcoin pumped 2,700%. 2 weeks prior to election in 2020, Bitcoin pumped 2,700%. Are we going to see the same thing happen this time? That's kind of crazy. That is actually kind of crazy. Well, actually, I take that back. It didn't just pump that much in that 2 weeks. Like, it started within that 2 weeks. That's what I meant. Like, it didn't pump 2,700% in that 2 weeks. Like, it started the 2 weeks before the elections and at the top. That's what I mean. Because otherwise, that would be kind of crazy. Like, it pumps 2,700% in 2 weeks. But you got the picture, right? We're 2 weeks off, and then at the end, it's 2,700%. And it happened both times in 2016 and 2020. So if you apply that logic, I mean, I don't know what that's going to equate to. That 2,700% to where we are now, that would send Bitcoin crazily high. I can't do the math in my head. You guys do it. That would be very, very insane. That would be very insane. Insane heights. I like to see it. It could happen. So we'll see. We'll see. It just so happens Bitcoin's halving event happens every 4 years, and it happens whenever we have a new presidential elections, because it's every 4 years. It just happens to fall in elections year every single time. And it happens to be a really good time to have a halving year.